Now, most people enjoy a good challenge when it comes to a video game, but you know what? The examples we're talking about today, well, they took things above and beyond to the point of extreme. So let's take a look at them. As I'm Jules, this is WhatCulture.com, and these are 10 hardcore challenges gamers set themselves. Number 10, speedrunning in general, pretty much every game. Now, personally, I find speedrunning an absolutely fascinating phenomenon. Despite being absolutely crap at it myself, it is equal parts baffling and also, ironically, makes total sense as well. When you heard about it for the first time, chances are that you were slightly puzzled or it just made no sense at all. I mean, why on earth would somebody try and essentially break a gaming experience in such a manner? I mean, where's the fun trying to get something over and done with as quickly as possible? But the more you think about it, the more it makes sense. How many times have you played the same game over and over in the exact same way? Why not try and make new experiences and new challenges every time instead? Combine that with the fact that the speedrunning community are generally just a really nice bunch who really want to help one another, and it becomes not necessarily about victory itself, but about helping the community. There's something about speedrunning that acts as a kind of antithesis to the toxicity that is often related with the gaming community, and honestly, deep down, I just envy the fact that I'm no good at it. Number 9. A joke game was played for over a week for charity. Desert Bus. If you've never heard about the absolute brilliance that is Desert Bus, then I implore you to leave right now and look it up. Actually, don't, just watch the video and I'll explain. Desert Bus is just one of a collection of games called Penn and Teller's Smoke and Mirrors. And in case you're wondering, yes, I do mean the magicians. I mean, how many other Penn and Tellers do you know exactly? Every game was intentionally designed to be, well, how should I put this? Hot garbage that you can use to push on your friends to punish them for whatever transgressions they may have committed against you in the past. Of these, Desert Bus gained the largest cult following, because basically you drive a bus forever. I mean, literally, there's no end. You drive all the way there and then you drive all the way back and you get 1 point for doing so. It just never ends. It is hell. So obviously, a bunch of people, loading, ready, run, decided to play it for charity. The team take it in turns to play for hours at a time, and for each donation that was made, added hours to the playtime. The initial run raised over $20,000. Some donations came from Penn and Teller themselves, who also made guest call-in appearances and sent pizza for the crew, and thus began a weird and beautiful yearly show of dorky generosity. Number 8. Completed with a Guitar Hero controller. Dark Souls. Look, I mean, the title does what it says on the tin, and the insane tin here, or tin-sane, I guess we're going to call it, is that yes, somebody has beaten Dark Souls with a Guitar Hero controller. I mean, they've done it using bananas. By this point, it's like, what else can you do it with? So yeah, if you're one of these sorts that looks at Dark Souls' already challenging gameplay and just says, I need to ramp it up, then you, my friend, are both a hero and a monster. Number 7. The NUZLOCKE Challenge. POKÉMON. I'm not gonna lie, this is the most fun challenge on this list. It's really, really fun. The NUZLOCKE Challenge consists of rules that some players decided to self-impose in order to add an extra level of challenge to the beloved childhood series that is enjoyed by millions. You know the one I'm talking about, POKÉMON. The core rules boil down to this: any Pokemon that faints is now considered dead and cannot be used in the future, and the player must catch the first Pokemon encountered each area and none other. So yeah, have fun with that bloody Rattata for what feels like 50 hours, mate. You must nickname all of your Pokemon to encourage an emotional bond, and there's no trading either, nor can you reset the game if things get too tough. And these are just the universally accepted rules. I mean, there's also additional rules to increase the difficulty because, sure, why not? However, there are also additional rules to make it more forgiving and accessible to others, meaning you can pick whatever challenge level you want this challenge to actually have. Number 6. Killing boars to get to level 60. World of Warcraft. Now, this one you might recognize as being inspired by South Park, which, fun fact, is also the case with absolutely everything else in life, past, present, and future, including every other entry on this list because South Park consumes all. Basically, in 2018, Blizzard introduced patch 7.3.5 for World of Warcraft. 7.3.5 promised to introduce new and creative ways in order to level up. So, obviously, somebody decided to replicate the episode Make Love Not Warcraft, wherein the boys level up exclusively by killing boars, which was noted as something of a plot hole as this wouldn't have actually been possible. And player Ian Explosion promised that should 7.5.3 release tomorrow, he'd speedrun to level 60 by killing boars. And you know what? He did. Over the course of the next 5 days and 21 hours of the game, the madman achieved, well, a joke. And that is dedication to the bit that demands nothing but the utmost respect. Words cannot begin to describe just how baffling this moment is, and also how utterly pointless, and more importantly, how boring it must have been. But hey, at least he can now play the rest of the game. Number 5. Level 100 Pokemon before the first gym. Pokemon. I mean, seriously? Level 100 Pokemon before the first gym? This is just a real challenge because of just how difficult it must have been and how boring and how time-consuming. Why would anyone want to do this? Like, look, listen, Guitar Souls was a weird one, but it kind of makes sense due to the intense challenge of it all. The desert one absolutely makes sense because it's for a good cause, but honestly, this one is just baffling. I just don't get this one. Words defy how boring this must have been. Number 4, level 99 Cloud and Barrett before the first boss, Final Fantasy VII. So back in 2015, a player by the name of Circle Master, that is completely spelt wrong, managed to level up Cloud and Barrett to level 99 in Final Fantasy VII. Now I hear you say, what? That's not an impressive feat at all. To which I reply, why do you think it's included on this list if they did it in a normal way whatsoever? Because, it was not. So Circle Master spent 500 plus hours over the course of 2 actual years of their real life going through what must have felt like an endless amount of random encounters, which we can all agree are the gaming equivalent of trying to eat all of that hot garbage that I was talking about earlier. And they did so until they leveled up both characters to 99 before even facing the first boss. This is made all the more impressive because they chose to do it on an OG PlayStation rather than an emulator. That meant that there was no frame skipping or save states whatsoever. The best of it, and the reason I don't consider this particular entry totally pointless, is that it was done actually out of spite. Another player was trying to do the same but eventually stopped posting updates, so Circle Master just went ahead and did it themselves. 500 hours for that, just to say I did it first. Amazing. Number 3, Low Heart Challenge, Zelda Twilight Princess. Have you ever played your way through every single Souls-like game there is? Really? Even Lords of the Fallen? Fair play, mate. And are you looking for a way of imbuing that level of stress to a childhood favorite that was just good fun beforehand? Well, have I got good news for you. Some genius came up with the idea of tackling a Zelda game without ever upgrading your health from the initial 3 hearts you begin with. This isn't really too big a deal early on in the game, but quickly becomes a task and a half once you reach a certain point and the difficulty utterly spikes. This forces you to approach the game in a different way from that which is expected of the player, be it adopting a more defensive approach, or perhaps utilizing tools you've earned in somewhat unconventional ways, or just trying your best to avoid combat altogether. A great example of the extreme of this is the Cave of Ordeals from Twilight Princess. Try that nonsense with 3 hearts. But why even do that when you can just stay around making soup forever? Because you're going to have a much easier time than trying this game with 3 hearts. Number 2, World's First Level 120 Neutral Panda, World of Warcraft. It's quite lovely when somebody actively chooses to play a game conversely to the way it was intended. After the release of 2012's Mists of Pandaria, player Double Agent saw that the newly introduced class began as neutral and wanted to see if it was possible to remain so rather than engage in combat and choose a side. Double Agent discovered that it was in fact possible, and in his own words said, "Once I discovered that there were herb and mining nodes on the island, I knew it was possible." And that's precisely what he did. Picked flowers for hours upon hours until reaching level 120. Unfortunately, Double Agent stopped sharing his playtime after a certain point due to people mocking him and not understanding why he'd waste all this time, some even taking it as a personal affront because humanity is just weird like that. Regardless, it is nothing but admirable to do something like this, so you can embrace pacifism now both online and offline. And number 1, 101% for charity, Donkey Kong 64. By his own admission, this is pretty much the opposite of a speedrun. However, that's partially what inspired H-Bomber Guy to undertake this incredible feat that was described as an antidote to the worst of gaming culture. Now, a bit of background here. In 2018, the National Lottery designated $500,000 to Mermaids, a wonderful charity who provides support to transgender teens. Unfortunately, the funding got pulled though when a former comedian started kicking up a fuss. So in response, H-Bomber Guy decided to stream Donkey Kong 64 until he reached 101% in order to raise money for mermaids. He raised over £300,000 during the stream. Also, the National Lottery decided to give mermaids the funding after all, so at least it all worked out in the end. This is a challenge that benefited everyone, bringing the community together in such a beautiful moment, and honestly, I just can't wait to see more examples like this. Big love to all of you. And there we go, my friends. Those were 10 hardcore challenges that gamers set themselves. I hope that you enjoyed that, and please let me know what you thought about it down in the comment section below. As always, I've been Jules. You can go follow me over on Twitter at RetroJ with a 0. Or you can swing by Live and Let's Dice, where I do all of my streaming outside of work, and it'd be great to see you over there. But before I go, I just want to say one thing. Sometimes in life, we can face challenges that might seem too difficult to overcome. But I want you to know something right now. You, my friend, listening to this video, you are never alone. Friends, family, professionals in the support industry, these are people that care about you and want you to do well, alright? So if things feel like they are too much sometimes, please make sure that you're speaking to others about your problems, because a problem shared is a problem solved a lot quicker. And I just want you to go out there and live a healthy, happy life, remembering the most important thing, that you are a massive ledge and you deserve love, happiness, and success. Now go out there and smash it, my friend. As always, I've been Jules. You have been awesome. Never forget that. And I'll speak to you soon. Bye.